Hey everyone, welcome to Sprinkles and Scribbles. Today we're going to be making some delicious chocolate mousse cupcakes. First, we're going to make a moist and super chocolatey cupcake, and then we're going to fill it with a creamy chocolate mousse filling, and then finally we're going to top it with a decadent chocolate ganache frosting. I guarantee you these cupcakes are a chocolate lover's dream. So if that sounds good to you, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the chocolate cupcakes. All the measurements are in the description box below, as well as on my blog. We'll start with some melted chocolate in a large bowl. Next, we'll add in the canola oil and then the sugar. Next, we'll give it a good mix, and once all the ingredients have been incorporated, we're going to add in the egg. Mix in the egg until it's fully incorporated with the rest of the wet ingredients. And then finally, we're going to add in our sour cream. The sour cream is what makes these cupcakes so decadent and moist and delicious. Once the wet ingredients have been fully incorporated, we're going to sift in our dry ingredients, starting with the flour, then the cocoa powder, and then baking soda, baking powder, and salt. You'll notice that this recipe has both chocolate that's melted as well as cocoa powder. Both those add such a chocolatey flavor to these cupcakes. Once all the dry ingredients have been sifted in, we're going to mix it so that it's incorporated into the batter. Make sure not to overmix this. And then the last things we're going to add are a little bit of instant coffee as well as hot water. The coffee really accentuates that chocolate flavor so that you really get a chocolatey cupcake. You won't really taste the coffee in this recipe, but if you don't have it on hand, feel free to skip it. Give it a final mix with a spatula, and then we can get these ready for the oven. To bake these cupcakes, you're going to need a cupcake tin as well as some cupcake liners. Start pouring the batter into the cupcake liners and fill them about 2/3 of the way. This recipe makes about 12 cupcakes. Once you've poured the batter into the cupcake liners, they are ready for the oven. You're going to bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 18 minutes. To check that they are done, make sure to poke them with a toothpick. The cupcakes are ready when the toothpick is clean. Next, we'll make the chocolate ganache frosting. You'll need chocolate as well as some heavy cream. First, you're going to want to heat up the heavy cream either in the microwave or on a stove, and then pour it over the chocolate. The heat from the heavy cream will melt the chocolate until it becomes one smooth batter. It might look milky at first, but just keep mixing and then the chocolate will completely melt into the cream. Once it's ready, we're going to want to let it rest and cool in the fridge for at least 2 hours or overnight if you have the time. Now we're going to make the chocolate mousse filling. Start by adding hot water to some cocoa powder and mix it until it has blended together. Then we're going to add the hot cocoa to some melted chocolate. This will really amp up that chocolate mousse. Once it's all blended together, set it aside for a bit. Next, we're going to make our whipped cream for the mousse. For this part, I recommend you chill your bowl and your mixers. Pour the heavy cream into a large bowl and then add the icing sugar. Whisk them together until the heavy cream turns into whipped cream. This part could take a few minutes, so be patient. You can either use a whisk or hand mixer. If you find that the cream is too runny, you can return it to the fridge for a few minutes so that you can cool it down and start over. Once it becomes nice and thick, we're going to add in the melted chocolate mixture. Continue mixing in the chocolate with the whipped cream until it's all combined, and then you have chocolate whipped cream. We're going to set this aside and put it in the fridge for about 2 hours. And then finally, we'll be ready to assemble our cupcakes. You'll need the chocolate cupcakes, the simplified chocolate mousse, and the decadent chocolate ganache frosting. To fill these cupcakes, you can use either the back of a piping tip or a cupcake pourer to pierce the center and remove a part of the cake. Next, we're going to take our simplified chocolate mousse and fill it. I prefer doing this with a piping bag, but you could also do it with a Ziploc bag or even just a spoon. Fill until you feel some resistance at the top of the cake. Then reattach the top of the cakes back in. It doesn't need to be pretty here because we're going to cover it all in our frosting. Next, we're going to take our chocolate ganache frosting that's been firmed in the fridge and whip it so we get this decadent whipped ganache. It's easiest to use a hand mixer for this part, but you can also use a stand mixer and maybe even a whisk. You'll notice that the color of the ganache will start to get lighter as you incorporate air into it. You'll know when it's ready when it feels light. Next, we're going to add the chocolate ganache to a piping bag. I used a Wilton 2D tip for this. Hold the piping bag upright and create a swirl on the cupcakes. You can also totally spoon the chocolate ganache on top of the cupcakes and spread it with an offset spatula or a spoon. These cupcakes are delicious either way. And then if you want, you can add some chocolate shavings or sprinkles on top of these cupcakes. To make them extra decadent, you can also add a chocolate covered strawberry. These would make a perfect treat for Valentine's Day. And there you have it, the most decadent chocolate cupcakes filled with a chocolate mousse filling and topped with some chocolate ganache. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and comment below and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. See you next time.